And Miranda. I'm glad you guys made it to Alive.
Good morning.
We're actually, and we have somebody else on here. Happy Friday.
Thank goodness it's
Good
Friday.
Morning. I know, I was telling Cayley, like, this is the most Monday-ish Friday I've had in a really long time. So we kind of matched today. Like, we're floral and leopard, but, like, it looks on there like we matched. So it fits. It's fine.
Morning.
Simply shenanigans. Morning, ladies. Happy Friday. TGIF. Yes.
Good morning.
I could title this video TGIF, I would, because I need it to be Friday. So we've got some fun stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
We do have a session, agenda topic. Yep, that was the word I was looking for today.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys are good, but as usual, you can ask any questions that you would like to ask. We'll go spend a couple minutes in the beginning going over our topic, and then you guys can feel free to leave some questions.
Good morning, everybody.
Let's start first with how your week was. How was your week since it's Friday?
My week was good. I got Nikki back, so we were able to go sourcing together instead of solo, although I did go solo one day this week, but sourcing was good. Was able to find actually quite a bit of really good stuff this week. Just been focusing on pulling through some more summer items. I've really heavily been looking for linens, and we've been finding a lot of linen stuff, so I'm excited about that and excited to get it listed. Feeling good about our new hire.
Yeah.
She has been uber efficient and a lot further ahead than we expected her to be, so that was my win for the week. I was really excited, and life's getting easier for us, and hopefully we'll have more time to source better items and explore new places.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning from California, Pennsylvania. It's raining here all day. Yeah, it's raining here too. It sounds like it's like taking a brief break, but the entire agenda for today looks like, or the forecast for today looks like 99.9% rain all day.
There's someone from Canada.
And and Houston.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's the weather like in Houston? I imagine it's already very hot.
Oh, you know what? We should take a trip. Find out.
I've been there several times, and it's like, I used to live in Arizona, but for some reason to me, like, Texas seems hotter. I don't know what it is. Like,
I've never been to Texas.
I find it unbearable. I don't know why. There's something about Texas heat that is just unbearable to me.
I've heard that from a lot of people. First time watching. My son Krillin watches you guys, but he is sick. He wanted to know what your favorite items are on the Taco Bell menu. Thanks.
My favorite items on the Taco Bell menu. I don't eat at Taco Bell very often anymore. I used to really love it, but I stopped eating there as much because I don't know if you guys remember, but a while ago, maybe like 6 months ago to a year, I don't know. I'm really bad with time and directions, but not that long ago, there was like a big blow up on social media because Taco Bell took off a lot of their menu items and they switched some stuff up, and then people like went crazy and then had like a petition, and they brought some of them back, but they did not bring all of them back. And my favorite Taco Bell item was the shredded chicken burrito. It was so good. It had cilantro lime rice and shredded chicken and like an avocado ranch, and it was
She's
delicious.
Still salty if you can't tell.
And they didn't bring it back. And so since that happened, I have not been to Taco Bell very much, but other than that, I usually just get Crunchy Taco Supremes. So
yeah, me too. I'm pretty plain. We have another taco restaurant here in town, actually a couple of them, and they're so good that we typically go there. But if I had to go to Taco Bell, I would probably shoot for just crunchy Supreme tacos. So
Mexican pizza is coming back. I don't remember Mexican pizza at Taco Bell. I'll have to try that. I usually cook a lot of Mexican food at home, so that's normally why I don't go to Taco Bell. Like when I menu plan, like half of them are some kind of Mexican food. So
yeah, we eat lots of Mexican. Like we do. Lisa, good morning. I'm glad you're here. I literally on the drive to work this morning was thinking it is Monday, but it's Friday. And I really hope that Lisa is on this video today because I just can't hype today. So please be the hype girl because I want to take a mental hype break. So welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Chicken all the way. Everybody likes your chicken tacos. I've never tried them.
The shredded, well, they're not, yeah. I've tried recreating them, but I can't get the sauce right that was on the chicken. But it's shredded chicken, cilantro and lime rice. I think there was some cheese in it, and then the avocado ranch, which you can buy the Taco Bell avocado ranch, which is pretty decent. I would prefer to make my own, but yeah, it just wasn't the same. I don't know. You know what I really love? It's not really Mexican food, but it's like American Mexican food.
What?
It's like Tex-Mex. Is the taco in a bowl is really big in Ohio. You get Doritos and you like cheesy Doritos and you crunch them up. I guess you could do Cool Ranch, but you get cheesy Doritos, you crunch them up, you put them in a bowl, and then you put all your taco toppings on it. And it's just like the taco meat like soaks into the chips. Yeah, they soak into the chips, and then you've got like I put lettuce and jalapenos and stuff on it. It's really good. So,
I don't like Doritos. I'm one of those psycho people.
In my gamer days, I used to love Doritos, but I'm not big on them now. But I love them in taco in a bowl.
Cook boneless chicken thighs in the crock pot with taco seasoning and salsa, and uses it a burrito taco quesadilla filling. That sounds good.
That sounds really good.
Okay, I'm getting really sidetracked because we're talking about all this good food, and
I know now I want tacos.
Yeah, walking tacos. That's exactly what it is. Some people call them taco in a bag. Some people call them walking tacos.
We call them taco in a bag here in Ohio.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. But we always get the like snack pack things of Doritos. That's what people do, and even like our school systems would do that. They would like throw you a thing of Doritos and then make tacos in a bags for lunch because we're kind of backwoods. We just like to do things odd. We are doing well. I speak for both of us. Cayley said she had a good week. I had a good week too. I spent a couple of days here with women and I love spending time here. I had a couple appointments this week which kind of threw off my week and left Cayley sourcing solo, but we're gonna start next week hopefully with complete normalcy again, and hopefully we can function.
I saw someone, I think they're asking about me saying gamer.
Yeah.
I used to do nothing but play Xbox and be on live all the time and be the typical like
gamer day. Explain more.
Yeah, I used to be like the typical teenager and even into adulthood that was like eating Doritos and Mountain Dew and playing Halo until my eyeballs bled out of my head. But
and now she's making me like try to eat healthy crap all the time.
I don't do that anymore. I still like playing games, but we don't tend to have time to do that anymore. I want to try the new Elden Ring. I don't know if anybody's tried that yet, but it looks really good.
All I know is I came to the office one day, not the new office, but the old office, and I walked in Cayley's office to do shipping, and there was a TV with her Xbox sitting out, and I was like, I see what we were doing while I was off yesterday, so don't let her fool you. She does still occasionally drag a TV to the office to play Xbox, so
I think other people played that too.
Yeah. I have a question on eBay. If I give both options for padded flat rate and first class, will the default shipping that the buyer sees be the cheapest one for the buyer? I hope that makes sense. I do believe yes.
I think they'll see both options. If I'm correct, I think they'll see two different options. But if not, I hope they do revert to that. Okay, we're starting to get a lot of questions. So before we jump into that, because man, this chat's moving fast today. How many people we got? 48 people watching, 22 likes. If you guys would take a second, give us some thumbs up. We do appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that already gave us a thumbs up. So we do have some questions and we're getting a lot of comments. We did want to really quickly jump into our topic at hand because it is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I don't know about you, but it has been one of the biggest game changers in our business. I would say sell-through rate is definitely the first one. I know we talk a lot about that, but second to sell-through rate, the thing that has really just completely changed everything for us is getting a week ahead. I know we've talked about it a lot. We have a video that links our bins system below. I put it in the description. Does it show?
Yay!
Okay, it works. I put the link down there already. I mean, we were 2 minutes early today. I got the link in there already. We're doing good. But if you want to watch that in more detail, we do have a video about what we're about to talk about. And I'm going to take you guys over really quick and just kind of show you a visual of what I'm talking about. But we are always working a week ahead of time. Thank you so much.
I think it's the junction. I can't see that far.
Junction. I can't tell. There it is.
Junction.
Junction. Thank you so much for the super chat. Love how helpful you both are. We try to be, for sure. So we're constantly, if you're new here, working a week ahead of time, which means the work that we're putting in now for our listings, we're not actually listing those items until next week, which actually now we're 2 weeks ahead, but we're not going to get into that. Hey, everybody. Hey, lovely Grace. So I'm going to take you over real quick to our bin system in case you're new here and haven't seen that video that's linked down below, and just kind of show you a visual of what we're talking about, because I think it'll kind of help.
Are we going on an adventure?
We're going.
I love adventures.
Let me take you with me real quick.
We're coming.
Okay. Let me flip this camera around. I'm such an old person with this, like,
me too.
technologically challenged here. Here we go. All right. Ooh, look at that wide pane of the office. It looks so good. We've been organizing. Yeah. Okay.
So these are our weekly bins. You'll see that this is Monday on it.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa.
She gave us a $5 super chat. She said, love you both.
Oh, I love you too, Lisa. Thanks for being my hype girl. So every week, every item that we get, we bring and toss into our, like, random shenanigans place up here. And then our woman will pull 28, like, in this lovely bin here. Take them back to our photograph spot, draft them, photograph them, and then once they're done, she places them in a secret spot that is empty right now because we just listed everything. But when we go to schedule them, we will pull 20 and put it in Monday, 20 and put it in Tuesday, so on and so forth. And then every day that we go through, we schedule these on eBay a week out, the entire week. All of this is already scheduled and listed, with the exception of Friday, which our woman is already putting away for today. So we're already done for next week. Everything's scheduled.
This is all next week.
Yep. So tomorrow, Sunday, through next week, up until next Friday. And then next Friday, we'll come back in, schedule, and do the entire thing again. And by doing this, we just set everything for eBay to set out every morning at 8 a.m. We touch it that one time. We don't have to mess with it again. It'll be ready to put away on that day. So our woman would come in on Monday, grab this bin, put everything in this bin away, and then just keep progressing through.
Yeah, and then towards the end of the week, which we can talk about here in a moment, but towards the end of the week, we do the same thing. We've got all the drafts ready and set to go. So then next week, we'll do the same thing, and we'll spend one day, ideally, doing this whole process over again.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to
the best part
our
is
spot.
That our lovely helper.
Hey, friends. Just showing them that puppy.
Oh, I thought that was our helper, and I was like, oh, you need help? Is that our... Woo!
I just spin it around. There we go.
Our helper has done a phenomenal job with working on drafts, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But in all honesty, like, I'm a full believer that sometimes things just happen for a reason, and I swear that this just ended up being like the best case situation for both of us. She found what she believes is a really good opportunity, a good job for her, and something that she loves to do, and we found somebody who's super efficient, very quick, motivated, and efficient, effective person. So she's been getting to most of our listings every day. So like every day she's been drafting, photographing 28 items, and almost every day she's getting to all 28 of them as far as filling out all the descriptions and stuff for us. We're just going back and verifying them, pricing them, checking them, and then marking them ready to go. I would say, in my honest opinion, we probably spent 4 hours on 140 listings this week, if I had to guess, as far as Cayley and I personally.
Yeah.
Because our helper has done phenomenal at listing, and honestly, there's not a lot of changes. So
yeah,
I don't know where she came from, but I hope there's like a whole secret planet of other people that she can bring to. Because she's top notch. So it's made our jobs a lot easier, and it makes that bin system really easy for us as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, we used to have them all in bins, we scheduled them, but then you'd be searching through 30 things, 140 things on eBay. Now, it's in one tote, you grab it, it's generally in the same kind of list section on eBay, you do all those and you move on. It's definitely helped organizational wise.
Yeah. So if you guys want more details on that of exactly like how we do that, we go into detail in that video. So that's linked below to watch later if you would like. But we just kind of wanted to talk about it because not a lot of people I see do this. There's very few resellers I see on YouTube talking about this. And like I said, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about because it just has helped us so much. So let's talk about why we do this bin system and why we work a week ahead.
Let's talk about the unexpected. So Cayley and I both have been through some like pretty intense stuff these last couple of months. We've, I think, kept it pretty together as far as YouTube wise, but we both have some personal things going on in our lives that we've been dealing with, which in turn has created some struggles at the office, but somehow we are still managing to stay afloat.
Yeah.
That being said, beyond just personal life being crazy sometimes the weather's crazy. We had a lot of snow this winter, and we had, I don't know, probably like 5 days that we couldn't go sourcing because like we had 10 inches of snow on the ground and you can't really drive. We were on level 3 for a few days, lots of ice. There's also options for flooding around here, or severe thunderstorms, severe storms. We were actually under a tornado watch this week, so we drove through it. We made it, but we also didn't know it was coming. So, I mean, one of the biggest things is just in general the unexpected. Personal life, weather, whatever that looks like. If you've got a bank of things that you can pull from, all of a sudden you can't go one day, now your entire week's not ruined.
Yeah. And just like call offs, like stuff coming up. I mean, summer's coming up, vacation days, using your personal days. Like, it's just a lot easier to have essentially wiggle room if you're working a week ahead of time because you've got a whole week to catch up if something happens. And that's, I think, the biggest thing is just like peace of mind. Is that I'm not going to flip out if we don't get to something that day. Like, it just really eases that pressure for us. While I like working under pressure because I think it makes us efficient, I do not like missing
the panic.
Yeah, I don't like the panic. I don't like missing goals and deadlines and feeling bad about myself or where we're sitting at with the business because we're behind. And by always working a week ahead, even if you get a little bit behind, you're still ahead. So
yeah, it helps with appointments or, like you said, vacations. Like if we want to go ahead and take some time off, go on a vacation, one of us is gone, there ends up being call-offs, whatever that looks like, we know we always kind of have a game plan. Plus, we talk about those dry spells. These last couple weeks have been so rough in the thrift stores. So, you might hit a spot. You guys probably saw the video we did the other day, the vlog, where we hit one store and ended up leaving with almost 70 items in just the one. So it is like huge when you've got the opportunity to see them.
Thanks for getting on even though it's early. Sorry, I had to. They finally made it on alive.
Yay! It's 6 a.m. wherever you are. Wow. Well, good morning. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for getting on.
But you never know. Like if you're gonna hit a good spell of stuff and you're gonna get a bunch. We got 70 in one day. Last Monday, Cayley ended up going sourcing by herself. Hit, what'd you say, 3 stores? Maybe
I think it was 4.
And got 14 items in 4 stores. And it was probably a total of like 160 miles is what she probably drove that way because it's about 70-ish both ways north. Plus the driving between the stores. So you have to think about that. It's an entire day for only 14 items. If you've got the opportunity to get a bunch, get them while you can.
Yeah. It relieves pressure just everywhere. And for me, like, that's just so motivating to to not get behind and to even if something happens, like it's like, you know what, it's okay. We've got safeguards in it. We're good. Also, like recently we've been doing a lot of hiring and training. So, and some of it honestly was unexpected. And so we were able to just kind of roll with it. And because we were so far ahead, I'm not going to say that we didn't have to work our butts off, but it wasn't as bad as it probably would been had we not been a week ahead. So it gives you time to implement changes within your system, to do hiring. So it's been really nice.
She played Halo with me for 6 hours. She really only hit one store. You know what? That could have happened. That could have happened.
Yeah.
She's like hawking her Xbox in her car or something. Got the TV in the passenger seat, sitting in Columbus playing Xbox, Halo, or I don't know, whatever that stuff is. And then she's like, I hit 14 stores today. I only got 5 items. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
She might have driven to the parking lot, so maybe she didn't go inside.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh,
that was funny.
So just finishing up with why we do it. The last thing is you can just get more done in bulk because you can plan better. So, you know, if you're working a week ahead, sourcing, you can just plan your week better. You're not constantly chasing your tail and hoping, you know, like she said, you go one day and you only get 14, and then some days you go and get 69. Like, again, what if your goal is to like list 20 a day and then you go but you only find 15 or something like that?
15 or
like
20.
You're not meeting your goal, and it can just mentally, I think, be very unmotivating, and we really, really like being a week ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, please hit the like button. Thank you to everybody reminding. We got 73 watching. Never thought that would happen. We've been consistently getting like over 100 people sometimes, so that's been cool. So besides that, and before we jump into the questions, let's talk really quickly about how we were able to get this implemented. Again, that video is down below, so it goes into more detail. I don't want to have a whole nother video about it, but just some kind of tips and tricks on how to get a week ahead. Essentially, what you're going to have to do is double the amount that you're getting in like 1 week or over maybe a couple weeks. I feel like we were able to do it over a couple weeks.
Yeah, it seems like, we always shoot for 140 items each week, and it seems like some weeks we were getting like 170, 180, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then obviously those items slowly started banking.
Yeah.
So
we really buckled down, I think, 1 week, and we were like, you know what? Like, we just got to make this happen. We're going to heavily source this week. We decided to go to the bins. That's a big tip that we have if you're looking to bulk stuff up, is to go to the bins. It's cheap. You can get a ton at once. You do have to spend like a good amount of time there, I feel like. But we went to the bins what felt like almost every day for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we lived there for a while. But we did get a lot of stuff, and that was last summer. And we ended up getting really far ahead. We had probably 2 to 3 batches ahead at the time, but we knew vacations were coming. We knew, last year, Cayley had a bunch of different trips for some other things that she had going on. She was going to be gone, like half of weeks, things like that. And like the pressure, especially when you're by yourself for the week, can be a lot to be like, okay, I have to get 140 items. If you know you've got 140 and everything you get is essentially extra, it's not so much pressure. We do still try to hit regular thrift stores for the like higher dollar, like top notch resale, but it's sales are sales at the end of the day. As long as you're keeping your eBay and Poshmark stores moving, even if it ends up being, $5, $10 sales rather than $150 sale, a sale is still a sale. So
yeah, and it keeps the algorithm happy for sure. So yeah, you basically have to, whatever your listing goal is, you need to figure out what your daily listing goal is. Make it something that you're capable of. Don't necessarily shoot for the stars, because you want to be consistent. So even if that's just 2 a day or 5 a day, whatever it takes at first to get consistent and to get a week ahead, and then after you do that, then build upon your listing goal. But one thing I think we didn't really think of was we take 2 days off. So it's not just that
20 a day.
Yeah, it's not just 20 a day. We're listing 28 a day. We're getting prep 28 a day, Monday through Friday. That way we have those extras for the weekend to make it 20 a day. So figure out what your listing goal is. If you're taking 2 days off or however many days, divide by the amount of days that you're working and just kind of figure out what that's going to look like for you. And then really just bust your butt to source enough and you'll be in pretty good shape, I feel like. We also had to essentially list double in a week because we had to list what we needed for that week plus
the next
schedule for the next week. So it's really just doubling down over the span of 1 or 2 weeks, or even I guess a month if you plan it correctly. But it's a lot of hard work, but once you get it done, it just like everything else falls in place. Sales fall in place because you're constantly being consistent, you're listing the same amount every day. And honestly, like we've been able, I feel like, to focus on better sourcing because we're not worried that we've got to stay behind and get listings done every day because they're already scheduled. So we're doing things in bulk. It's just been more structured and organized. And I know Nikki was kind of talking about this to me earlier, is like we're able to work a true 40-hour work week. We choose to work full time, but a 40-hour work week because we're not scrambling. If you're doing this solo and you plan to work, 40 hours a week or whatever, and one day you miss your listing goal, you're going to have to scramble to make back up for that or feel like you've got to work extra or work into the night. That doesn't happen when you're a week ahead because, like we said, it kind of takes the pressure off, and you know that over the next few days you're going to be able to reel it back in. So
yeah, at the end of the day, we both have lives outside of business, and we want to make sure that we still have time to attend to those things. I'm not going to say I'm not bad about it, but sometimes we do stay over, or sometimes we do decide we're just going to spend an extra 10 minutes to finish something. But every minute counts. So you want to make sure that you are always ahead so that you're not falling behind. It may be a trade-off. Maybe you do have to pull out of your bank one day, but then another day you hit really well, and then now you've got more backed back into that bank, which is always helpful. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean you're going to be at Friday at 5 p.m. trying to rush to find things, because you may not. I've had weeks where I've gone into stores and came out with cartfuls. I've had weeks where Cayley's been gone and I've worked from way too much. We're just going to say way too much because I didn't want to let her down. So you got to think about those things. And we found the easiest way is by being ahead and going to the bins when we know that we're going to have a difficult time finding stuff. So
yeah. And I guess the overall takeaway from this is it just mentally makes so much sense, and it's motivating, and it just feels like a weight off your shoulders if you can buckle down and get to that point. So we wanted to talk about that again. We hadn't talked about it really in a long time since we made that bins video. But if you haven't watched that, look at it. We talk about how to kind of set that up and get it in place, kind of talk about what your goals are and how to make that happen. All right.
We're going to bust through some questions and comments. Lisa wants to know, how many pictures do you take of shoes? If you look at the listings that we have on shoes, I can't say exactly how many, but ideally we do like a slanted side shot. We do a front shot, a back shot. So like the tip of the shoes, the back of the shoes. We'll typically do one of like tags or materials or whatever that looks like. Sometimes they're in a couple different spots, so you may have a couple different images, but for the most part, say one. We do the soles of the shoes and then like a side view so you can see heels if there's any heels. So at least 6 or 7.
Yeah, I just did like a muscle memory thing because I'm like, how would I take pictures? We take about 7 of the shoes themselves, and then we take
additionals,
a measurement if there is a heel, and then we take the weight. So a total of about 9, more if there's more details involved.
Yep. Yeah. So I forgot about weight. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that, but yep. If there's heels, you want to add measurements, and then if there's any like flaws or anything like that or special characters, you would add. So I would say like 8-ish, 9-ish, but hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Field trip. Where are we field tripping to?
You said field trip when we went to go look at the bins.
Oh.
They were like, yeah, field trip.
Oh, I was like, what? See, it's how quick my brain just goes off. I'm curious what you do with pictures of items you've listed. Do you delete them? I'm assuming you mean like in our camera, like on the phone that we use. But yes, we like dump everything. So once we're done taking photos, we've listed the item or like we've uploaded the photos, we empty our phone, we empty the trash, we empty recycling. Like it's gone. Normally we don't have issues with it. Every now and then something happens and we can try to recover it, but for the most part we don't have issues. But yes.
I feel like maybe they're asking because of us working a week ahead, but I just want to say if you watch that video, you'll kind of see this, but when we're working a week ahead, even though we're not listing them until the following week, we are preparing them and drafting them in the week we're in. So like this week, we're going to be doing stuff for next week, but we're actually completing the drafts this week. So we're creating a draft, a shell of a draft, and we're uploading those photos the same week that we're, like the same day actually, that we're photographing, we're uploading the picture.
Yep.
So from that, you know, things are not getting lost in translation. We're not waiting a week to upload them. They're getting done the same day that they're being photoed, they're being uploaded.
Then we just have to go back and add details, finish the listing, add pricing, and then that's when we schedule them. But all those pictures are already there, uploaded and completed, and then we delete them from the device. Do you schedule Posh also? We experimented with this once or twice. We were at one point scheduling Posh. At this point, I am not. So we mentioned in the last video that we switched back to listing on eBay and cross-posting to list perfectly. Our helper today will be putting away items for Friday. Once she's finished with the Friday items, I will go on to eBay and cross-post those to list perfectly. I also, at that same time, will cross-post those items from list perfectly to Poshmark. So one of the issues we were running into originally is pre this helper, we actually had somebody that was a virtual assistant that listed from home, and she cross-posted just kind of willy-nilly as she went and had time for each week. She would do the entire week, but sometimes she was actually cross-posting items to Poshmark before they were even listed on eBay, and that caused some issues for us, which is why we decided to kind of change the system. So now we wait until they have been listed, put away by the assistant, and then we will end up going back and cross-posting them. So we end up having our SKUs or locations in 3 different places in case for some reason something would go haywire. But we do not schedule on Posh anymore. It is super easy though. If you've never used it and you're interested, it is so easy and it is pretty convenient.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize that you can schedule on Poshmark. And it's free, by the way. Like on eBay, you have to pay to schedule your listings. On Poshmark, you don't right now. So it's definitely a feature. If you're a Poshmark only person, I would definitely take advantage of that because you can schedule for free.
Hi ladies, love you guys and I've learned so much from you both. So my question is, how long did it take for your business to really pick up? Thank you, ladies.
So in the beginning, I was just doing stuff part-time. We've talked about this a lot and I can't remember like exact dates, but in the beginning, I was part-time. I worked a full-time job. I was doing it by myself. Eventually, I decided once my sales picked up that I was going to be going full-time. That was maybe a couple years into doing it for me. And then eventually I ended up hiring people. Now, I will say it wasn't until I hired Nikki that the business really launched. And that's because at that point I was able to be consistent because I had her help. So I would say, I mean, Nikki's been here for just over a year and we've been able to double the business since hiring her. So I hope that answers your question. There's many milestones that have taken place to get here, but as far as like picking up and making the sales that we're making now, I would really say it took a year of consistent listing and being on this kind of a program, I guess I'll call it, where we're working a week ahead. Took about a year to like really develop and make that happen. A lot of people think it's overnight. It's not overnight. It takes a while. Yeah, it takes a while for the system to catch up and for it to realize, I guess, that you're being consistent and boost you in the algorithm.
I like to think of it like a garden. So everybody plants a garden and they put the seeds in and they're done. They've put all the effort in and then you just kind of have to wait and watch for it to grow and be consistent. So if you plant a garden and then you forget about it and you put a lot of effort into it for a week, you get everything planted, watered, ready to go, you might still have some things that grow, but if you're not catering to it every day, watering it every day, and at least checking on it every single day, it's probably not going to bloom as much as what somebody's is that is spending the time every single day. But it does take a lot of time too. So if you're the kind of person that wants to throw an effort for a weekend and be like, I put all kinds of time in and it's not working, it probably isn't going to work. You have to consistently work on it every single day and be patient because it does take a lot of time for it to really blossom into something beautiful.
Isn't there like a saying, and it's like the seed you plant today is not the fruit you'll eat tomorrow?
Probably.
Like, and it's just, yeah, it's just that about whatever you sow into now. It may take time to reap those rewards, but you keep at it and it eventually will catch up.
Perry says, I have a similar system, but I don't have them scheduled. It's a great feeling knowing you have things ready to go on a week ahead. That is true. Even if you choose not to schedule them and you choose to just wake up every day and say, okay, I'm grabbing these X amount of items and you just set them all active, that's cool too. We don't do that just because even for us to just set 20 live would take some time for us in the morning, and it's something we have to remember. So we just schedule all of them. But if it works for you.
Yeah, a big reason that because we could do the setting them active every day and not pay for the schedule listings. But I think the biggest reason that we schedule is because we have to drive so far for sourcing that it forces us to source in bulk. And so for that reason, we don't have time to do those little things every single day and to chunk it out. Now, if we had thrift stores in our area that we could get to within like 10, 20 minutes and consistently get inventory, we would probably totally do that. But we just can't. That's just not our situation.
Is 3 weeks ahead too much? What would you say is ideal?
I guess it depends. Right now, we switched a little bit. We pivoted a little bit. I would say right now we hover between a week and a half to 2 weeks ahead. But the thing is with getting too far ahead, you have to be careful about like corrupt images in eBay and stuff getting lost in translation. So the only platform I've had issues with getting too far ahead has been eBay. And it's because if your drafts sit for too long, they become corrupt. I think the reasoning is that, you create the draft, they do some background changes, their drop-down menus change or whatever. And because of that, your draft essentially becomes corrupt and you can't use it anymore. Your photos might be messed up, your draft might be messed up. So the work you put in is wiped essentially, which can be extremely frustrating. So we don't want to get too far ahead because if we do that, there's a chance that the work we put in now might be erased. So you just want to be careful of that. We have found that if you're scheduling them and like getting them out of drafts and into your scheduled,
they seem to be fine.
Yeah, into like that scheduled section, they seem to be okay. If we leave them in drafts, they do not. I haven't had that problem with List Perfectly. I haven't had that problem with Poshmark. So when we were starting in List Perfectly and then sending them out, we didn't have that issue because, everything was being held in those other platforms. But I think it just depends on what platform you're on. I don't think that's too much, but I think if you're at a point where you're that far ahead, maybe you might want to consider, instead of being that far ahead, upping your daily amount, taking that week and saying, okay, I'm going to up my daily listing goal instead. That's just my personal opinion.
The other thing to think about for us is we say we're like 2-ish weeks behind. Don't say behind. I can't. No. Okay. 2-ish weeks ahead. We have 3 current batches going. So we have the batch that we're in this week. It is what we're currently listing, or we already listed this morning. And then we have another batch for next week that our assistant has already started drafting, taking photos, and has started doing like details fill-ins on those for us. And then we have another batch that Cayley and I guess I went sourcing this week, have spent time sourcing this week. So that's not for next week, that's for 2 weeks. But if you think about it, the only thing throughout this week, as our assistant was putting stuff in, was just those 2 batches. So even though we were technically 3 batches out, only 2 of them were in there, and every day we were actively pulling and completing drafts to be finished. So at max, we've only got about 280 drafts in the draft folder at a time. We've noticed about a 3-week window. Once you hit about that 3rd week, or like 2.5 weeks, is when stuff does start getting corrupt. So we try to not ever put in more than just those 2 batches, and then just always have that kind of backup area to fill in. So I just want to hope that kind of helped and made sense. So
yeah.
I get such a feeling of relief when I get ahead in listings. I'm still struggling to get more than a couple of days ahead, though. That is hard. I think the week that we did it, like, we struggled so hard to get ahead. We did put some extra hours in, and we really just committed to spending time to doing it. But honestly, once you bust through it, it gets so great. And unfortunately, we have had lots of times where we've gotten like half a week ahead, and we were on the goal of trying to get a week ahead again, and then something happened and it put us back at flush. We've had lots of times where we've tried and we've slipped back, or, I've been sick. Cayley was out. I don't even know if you guys remember, but like probably a month, maybe a month and a half ago, the 3 of us all ended up being out the same week. I think I worked 2 days that week. She worked 2 days that week. And our old assistant worked 2 days that week. And they were not the same 2 days. So like, I think we overlapped once, maybe twice. And it's things like that happen. So just do your best, keep pushing. Even if it's 5 extra a week, 5 over 5 weeks still gets you to 25. So it just depends. You know what I mean?
If you're capable of doing it, if financially it would be okay. You might consider, if your daily listing goal, ideally you want to have it 10 a day when all is said and done. Maybe for like, if you can swing it, maybe like just say for the next 2 weeks you're only going to do 5 a day, and then work on those 2 weeks to kind of relieve yourself a little bit extra source, so that you can get that system set in place in order to make that happen. Because even though you might be missing sales by decreasing your listing goal, in the long run it's going to be better to be consistent and to get it set in place now, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. Poison Prep said I had a day like that yesterday. I got 10 items and I spent hours and went to 2 stores. I was feeling pretty discouraged.
It sucks.
I had one day like Cayley's Monday where I think I hit like 4 or 5 stores and I came back with like 15 to 20 items. And like, I know that's still a decent amount for a lot of you, but considering how far we drive, I literally spent more in gas driving than what we would have made off a lot of the items that we buy. And it was just very discouraging. And unfortunately, the only thing that you can do is just keep pushing. So my signature words, stay the course. Don't change it. No matter what happens, if you have a bad day, don't let the bad day mess up everything for you. Just keep trying. So
it usually balances out.
Doyle Warehouse thinks that you're checking the TV section at Goodwill with your Xbox. So
yeah, I'm testing it, all of them out.
Thank you, Lisa. Hit that like button. We appreciate that. If you guys are on, we have 99 watching and 46 thumbs up. Yeah. Please take a moment and give us a thumbs up, because that helps keep the channel going and helps us help you. Yeah, I caught a live. It's early here on the West Coast. Thanks so much for all you do. I've learned so much from you guys. Thank you. Tommy in Seattle says it takes me 5 hours just to make one pass through all the bins here in Portland. Bins are so time consuming because of the sheer quantity of clothes to sift through. Agreed. I hate the bins with a passion. My back hates them. My legs hate them. My stomach hates them.
Let us know down in the comments. But like we've been talking about, we go to 4 thrift stores and we come out with only 10 things. To me, it's more discouraging when you go to the bins and you come out with nothing, because you've spent like hours. Your back hurts, like it's gross in there, like people are mean, at least in our location. But it's like that's the big like punch in the gut for me, is like you go to the bins and you're like, man, I'm gonna spend all day there, it's gonna be good, and then you come out with nothing. That's the most discouraging for me.
Yeah, we're also firm believers that when you go to the bins, you have to be in the mindset. So sometimes we start there in the morning, we hit it pretty hard, and we have plans of going there after lunch, and some days we're like, nah, I'm not feeling it. If you go to the bins and you're just not feeling it, you're not going to find anything. You're literally just going to be like throwing things in bins and not finding anything. So make sure you're in the mentality. If you wake up one morning, you're feeling like extra go-go juice, spend your time, go to the bins, bust it out, because then maybe you'll end up having some extra time to do less. But it is very discouraging when you go and you're finding nothing. Sometimes we go for a couple hours and realize we've gone through 10 bins and now we haven't found anything. The cart's almost completely empty and we're like, this is not going to pay off for us. It's better off for us to head somewhere else and try. So don't sink your ship if the bins aren't working for you either.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Hope everyone is having a great Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody.
I work 3 to 5 overnights with my dad, plus babysit my grandkids several times a week, plus resell locally. I suck at time management. Any tips?
Get a week ahead. It'll really help. That's a lot to do. It is.
I feel you. I am a mom of 2, and my husband works, I don't even know, like 50-hour weeks, and my kid tries to play sports, although that's a whole other story. But it's hard. It's really hard. Cayley laughs at me, but like I don't think I ever really sleep. I just like push myself to keep going all the time and then catch up. The biggest thing for me is having a schedule, setting a plan. So I know I have 40 hours to do work with. I know I have, X amount of time to do dishes or laundry or maintain the house. I know I need to spend X amount of time with my kids, whether that's playing or going outside or taking them on a trip. So like try to set time expectations and set a schedule. If you're working 3 to 5 nights and babysitting, set a couple hours for yourself. Actually physically say, these 2 hours are my resale or reselling time. This is when I'm babysitting my kids or my grandkids. Nobody's interrupting this, or whatever. Set a plan, an actual legitimate schedule for yourself, and hold yourself accountable to that, and hold everybody in your life accountable to that. If it's your time to do something for you, and it's for your reselling business, why do I keep saying reselling? Reselling business, make sure you make that a job, because it ultimately is another job. Just because you don't punch in somewhere doesn't mean that you don't have a set schedule for it. So set your schedule.
Yeah. And if if you feel like you do have time and you're just not motivated to do it, I always tell people, if you're like really struggling with something and you want to like kickstart yourself back into making that a habit again, do it the first thing. Like make it the first thing you do every day and just get through it, and it'll become a habit for you. Good morning.
I love that our people are chatting with each other. That makes my heart happy. I sell shoes from I started a few months ago, only taking pictures of one shoe, the worst condition one, and then the last picture is the sole side by side. Saves me so much time. That's a cool idea. What kind of games?
I don't play much anymore because, like I said, I don't have a lot of time, but I mean, I used to play like Halo, Gears. I'm not a Call of Duty person. I don't really play those anymore. If I do play something, it's usually like, I think the last thing I played was like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that was a while ago and I haven't had time. But like I said, there's a new one out. I believe it's called Elden Ring, and I really want to try that one because it looks cool. But yeah, I don't have time to game anymore. I just don't.
Yeah. Fun fact, I like don't do technology at all. Like I had a PlayStation when I was a kid, like way back when. Played Nintendo 64, but I was probably like 8 or 9, and I literally haven't played video games since then. Although I'm a child sometimes, and my kid still has a Nintendo Switch, and I might or might not steal it sometimes just to play Spyro at like midnight. So
Spyro was a good game.
I thought it was so fun. I just used to like light people on fire.
Bama Pickens said, I'm a vintage game collector, but I love my Xbox too. Yeah, I do occasionally pull out the old N64 and play some of those, but the it's just so pixelated now with like how big TVs are that it honestly hurts my eyes, and it's really hard to
play. They're hard to play on large TVs now. Like
I tried to play Zelda Majora's Mask the other day, and I couldn't even like tell what was going on. So I need to get like a cheaper, smaller TV, and yeah, but that's cool. Games.
We're gonna go back to legitimate resale questions. Sorry.
I should never have said anything about gaming.
Do you have any regrets, or would you look or recommend something specific for different when looking for office spaces?
That's a good question. We haven't had that one before. Is there anything I regret with the office spaces. There's definitely pros and cons to the old office space versus our new office space. As far as jumping into an office space, I had to do that because I had no room left in my house. So I don't regret starting an office space. It was actually one of the best decisions that I ever made. I will say that, there's pros and cons. We had a private entrance at one of the locations, and I would say, looking back, knowing all I know now, to make a long answer short, we really prefer the open space, and having all of our items here so that we don't have to go to multiple different rooms. But I do wish that we had like one private area where we could have like conversations for like hiring and paperwork and stuff like that. And just overall, like, I think maybe a mistake, not that it's a mistake, but I feel like we're going to grow out of this building way too quickly, and we grew out of the other one way too quickly. So it's like, not only do you want to think about, is my stuff going to fit in it now, but like, you need to project how much you're listing like a year, 2 years from now, and make sure that you are, I guess, investing in enough space that you don't have to move all the time. And I think that's probably one of the things we've looked back on, and don't have crappy landlords, because they make your life hell. But
yeah, one of the one of the things I like most about the office here is that it is completely open as far as like storage space. It's definitely more convenient. I do miss having individual offices though. I won't lie, just because I liked that we kind of all had our own space and we weren't kind of interrupting each other. It's not a big deal, but sometimes like we want to film stuff and I feel bad that like the entire office has to be completely quiet all the time. So that can be kind of frustrating sometimes, or can be kind of a pain in the butt. Like Cayley was trying to record this morning and I'm like over here snickering, like just trying to keep it together. So I do miss that sometimes. But, and like disciplinary wise, if we would ever have multiple associates and would need to discipline or have conversations, difficult conversations, I'd want to make sure we could do that kind of one-on-one. But that being said, I don't foresee the need for that anytime soon. And right now we only have the one person and she's phenomenal, but that's something to think of too if you're looking at hiring as well. This kind of fits with it, but it says, how many items were you listing a day before you hired and rented space?
I was very sporadic. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you, Angie.
It's a super sticker. Look.
Yeah, is it a crocodile?
I think it might be a hippo.
What?
I think it might be a hippo. Look how cute.
I don't know, but it's freaking cute.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
That's really nice of you. Sorry, the hippo had me distracted. How many items did I list? It was very sporadic. I tried to list 10 a day, but I did not achieve 10 a day. But I think overall it averaged out to be 10 a day. Some days I would list 2. Some days I would list 18. Like, it was just kind of sporadic. But I would say I was listing about 10 when I started getting help with hiring and like virtual assistant listing. Now that I look back and I see how efficient I can be, I probably hired too soon. Not that it didn't end up working out and not that I, lost money on it, but that's why we always tell you guys to like make sure the first thing when you're hiring somebody is get your processes in place now and make it as streamlined and efficient as possible. Because had I forced myself to just list consistently, I probably wouldn't have needed to hire help as soon as I did. But I did. But there's not a one size fits all on these questions. But yeah. I would just say I got to a point where I felt like I couldn't do it on my own anymore, and I was making enough money to justify hiring somebody. And then as far as office space, I just literally ran out of space in my home. Like, I had stuff in corners, I had stuff everywhere.
The other thing to think of is like efficiency. So prior to our newest helper, we actually had 2 assistants. We had one in office and then we had a virtual assistant, and they were completing the same amount of tasks. Now, given this is a long story, but roundabout, there were a lot of efficiency issues that we were trying to narrow down and trying to adjust. And we knew that that was an issue. But it was also one of those things that we weren't quite sure if we were setting unrealistic expectations. We were really trying to figure that out. Now that we have our new assistant, it is blatantly clear that all of the things we were asking were possible. It came down to time management issues from our two previous assistants, and them just not being as focused on getting things given. One of them was 1099, which, you know, she does things on her terms. That was whatever time she wanted to. But the reality kind of came in that we were paying somebody else W-2 that could have gotten more things done, than what they were. And in turn, we were paying two people for a job that could have been completed by one. When we hired our newest assistant, we kind of came up with the idea that we might potentially need to hire somebody else to maybe help as a support, like a part-time support. At this point, with the amount of listings that we have, we definitely don't feel the need for that because, as I said, she is like slaying things and she's epic. And maybe eventually we'll hire somebody else here soon and we'll adjust and add more listings, but we obviously need to be able to get further ahead in sourcing to grow the amount of listings per day. But that's on the agenda. So
yeah, so it's not really about how much you're listing or how much you have in inventory. It's really about how much money are you netting and can you afford it, and do you have your systems put in place now so that when you do hire somebody it is efficient. There's nothing worse than hiring someone and then having to like flip-flop and change things 100 times.
Great work, ladies. Thanks for sharing and encouraging us. This is really helpful. Thank you for sharing your system. Bama Pickin' and Grinning is going to go back and look at The Office because they say it's amazing. Thank you. We just reorganized it not that long ago, and I love this. I don't know. I think we showed them The Office before.
We showed it in a live. We showed it in a live, yeah. But we have reorganized it here lately.
Yeah, it's definitely nicer than it was. I like it.
Coming together.
Good morning.
Did you read what they said? If I spent hours and came out with nothing, I'm getting plastered. That's why we get marks.
If I spent hours and came out with nothing, yeah, we do. Like, legitimately, sometimes there's like, we either do end of the week celebrations or like end of the week morning where we're like, man, this week just sucked. So then we're like, you know what, marks, like, you see us do lives and we're like, marks for a great week. But like, there's been weeks where we're like, marks for a crappy week. Like, it's just marks.
I promise we don't have a problem.
I don't.
It just so happens that the days that we have lies, we
typically indulge.
We typically indulge. Yeah.
It's like once a week, if that. And there's one because we have to come back and function. And if Cayley and I drink too, we just come back and nap, and that's not functional. So I went to the bins once, walked in the door, saw the chaos, and walked right back out. I'd rather go to the regular stores, even if I have to pay up a bit for an item. Agreed.
I was there, like, when she started, I told her, and I was like, there's a place we could go to and get a lot, but I hate going, so I just don't go to the bins. And it was for that reason. But now we've forced ourselves to do it. We actually, sometimes we do enjoy it if, like, you hit a good stride and, like, there's good donations that day. But the bins, yeah, I would agree that there's a lot of negatives, but there's also positives, and sometimes those positives outweigh the negatives for sure.
We have 115 people on and 68 likes. So please give us some thumbs up. We appreciate you. It's nice to see so many people on. It makes my heart happy. And I didn't even ask anybody to wake their kids up yet, so it's good. I will start looking into another niche when I start leaving the bins with little to nothing. If we got to the point where every day we were going to the bins, there was little to nothing, we would have to figure out another plan. But it's not always. It seems like occasionally, maybe like once a week, we'll go and something, we won't have a good turnout. But I think that just happens everywhere. It's all based on donations. It's all based on what they get. You may go through a couple week dry spell like we did and then have a day that just blows it out of the water. But if that happens, I would do it. Maybe look for something a little bit different. Don't let the bins overwhelm you. Go in small increments. Like, if you're going to go to the bins, go for like an hour or so and just see how things work out.
And take someone with you. You'll feel a lot better. I hate going to the bins by myself.
Me too.
I feel better when I go with somebody. It just it feels like you have someone in your corner amongst the chaos, I guess. So yeah, take somebody with you. You'll get used to it if you start going more often.
Hey, I'm wondering what you do if you go on a short vacation, say 2 or 3 days. How much does putting your stored vacation mode hurt you in the algorithm? Is it better to keep it open and ship later?
So, I know I need to start blasting through these questions. So, Megan, that is why I started hiring people, was because when I needed time off, I wanted my business to keep going. So right now our attendance policy is essentially that there will always be someone here to ship. So I don't have that issue because one of us is always here to ship. If she goes on vacation, if our helpers are all on vacation, that means that I am here. So someone is always here to ship. If by some chance we would not be able to do that, and what I used to do is I use the vacation mode. Both eBay and Poshmark have vacation modes now, which is essentially that your stuff is still active for sale and it alerts the buyer that you won't be back until a certain time. And when you'll ship it, but your stuff can still sell. So that's personally what I used to use and what I would use now. If for some reason all of us were gone, especially if it was just a few days, I wouldn't even worry about editing your handling time on everything. I would just set a quick vacation mode. And to be honest, the few times I've done that, I still got quite a bit of sales, and I would still make sure you're scheduling listings. So it won't hurt too much.
Angie, back to your comment about, reselling being work. Again, just set your schedule. Like, I don't care if you just tell your family, hey, look, these 3 hours every day, this time to this time are mine. Don't bother me. Shut yourself off somewhere. Go to a cafe. Go sit down and, somewhere with Wi-Fi where you can do listings or whatever you need to do. If you can take time to get out or get away from other people, sometimes it's helpful. Go sit in your car somewhere. Like, whatever you need to do to make you have your own time.
Maybe you need to go to a coffee shop and go somewhere with Wi-Fi and force that to happen.
Michelle says, I have a flip phone intentionally, so there's that fun fact. I would probably still have a flip phone if I could get some semblance of Wi-Fi at my house, but I live so rurally that I can't even get anything. I could get HughesNet, I think, but it doesn't even work. So I legitimately do not have Wi-Fi at home, and I use everything from my smartphone and go from there. But that's my extent of technology. We don't expand beyond that. But I also have young kids, and I don't want them rotting their brains out. So
I have to have a smartphone so we can do comps and film while we're out.
Hold on a second, I lost them.
Guys, it is 10:01, so we're an hour in. So we're going to start blasting through these questions. So if you have any, put them down there now, because we're going to start rapid firing going through them.
All right, rapid fire. Go. For eBay, do you find any difference or do better running normal sales or doing coupons, or do you find it matters?
Just to be honest with you, I haven't tried coupons yet. I created one, haven't used them yet. I know that a lot of people are having success with them. So we do need to try that soon, but to be honest with you, right now, just dropping our prices after 90 days by 10 or 20% has been working really well for us.
Just curious about your thoughts on choosing store subscriptions on eBay and the benefits.
Oh man, I used to have a video about how to determine which is the best option for you, but they changed their prices and they changed some things, so I haven't remade one. But there's a way, you know what, I feel like there's a few resellers that have a spreadsheet you can use, and you tell them how many active listings you have, and it'll tell you what your store subscription is. I can't remember who does though. You guys can drop that in the comments down below, but essentially you just need to do the math as to how many active listings you have, how many you plan on listing, because if you have 500 active listings and they renew every 30 days, that counts towards your listing. So if you have 500 and you do nothing else, it's going to act like you listed 500, if that makes sense. Every time it renews, it counts as a listing, plus whatever you're going to be listing in addition to that. So what that means is that you need to kind of calculate the math per listing, how many you get free, and determine what is the best option to you. But there's some good videos out that explain that. I would just search how to, like, what store subscription is right for me and sort by the newest videos, because I do know that they recently changed things.
Love y'all's videos and the growth throughout these years. Thank you for all the great videos. Do y'all ever resell items, and how many items do y'all list each day? We do 20 a day as of right now. And as far as relisting items, I'm not sure if you mean like...
I know what they mean.
Okay.
They're talking about ending and sell similar. I don't do that anymore because, like I said, we're trying a new strategy where we drop prices after 90 days, and that's been working well for me. I do not relist. Some people think that ending a listing and sell similar is the same thing as listing new items, which it kind of essentially is. You trick the algorithm and you change a few things, but we're not currently doing that. Right now, just listing new items every single day is our main goal. And honestly, if you're not doing that, then the ending and sell similar doesn't, that should be on the back burner. You should focus on getting new listings up. But right now we're just focusing on dropping prices.
Bama wanted to tell you that he is subscribed, that he wasn't sure why he didn't see y'all before now, but glad that he found you. Yeah. Got to run. Have a blessed day.
Thanks for being here. Have a good one.
If you come back and you see this, thanks for joining us. Thanks for subscribing, and we love you. Have a good day too. So do you guys run a store together or have separate stores? New here. Sorry, Google didn't have the answer. No, so I just work for Cayley. She has her store, and we've just been lifelong friends. And so a year ago, I started working with her as her e-commerce manager, and I just help with personnel and help with listings and just the everyday maintenance. But no, it is all her store. I just work here.
Yeah, it might be confusing if you're new here because we cross post onto multiple platforms. So it's all the same store, it's all the same business, but we list the same items on both eBay and Poshmark, if that makes sense.
Yahoo might have had your answer. I like that. Ladies, you're playing the live version of Sonic, collecting all the coins. It feels like it. How do you recommend setting Posh or VA for the best results? I sometimes feel that the closet doesn't share, and sometimes it does with the schedule.
We personally use the schedule. I don't do the manual. I do know that, like, I did have to change a setting on my computer where it doesn't go into like a deep sleep mode. The screen can still turn off, but that it doesn't go into a deep sleep, because that is what can cause it to not work. So if you haven't done that already, you might want to check your settings to make sure, again, that it can fall asleep but not go into a deep sleep. And the settings that I have, we only use scheduling. I have it scheduled for twice a day, although we have so many listings now that it ends up only sharing it once a day because there's a limit. And then I also have it set for sending offers 10 minutes after somebody likes an item. So we use like basically all of the automation. We don't do it manually. And then I just make sure that my computer doesn't go in deep sleep, and I've never had an issue with it.
LG said my boyfriend loved Elden Ring. He finished it in a month.
Yeah,
so you might have to try it.
It's good.
Do we garage or yard sale? So we didn't much last year, but we'd like to do so this year. We don't have very good options around here for yard sale sourcing as well. We would still have to travel probably at least an hour, hour and a half to hit yard sales. That would be of like decent quality. But we would like to do that this year. I did hit a couple local last year and found some decent things, but I think honestly that was a fluke. I do watch a lot of like the online, like local online groups to see if people have things for sale that like we would buy, or, you know, local moms, if I know that like they're posting clothes, things like that. A lot of times I'll comment and arrange pickup on things like that, but we have not much, but I would like to. Femfix said, you Americans are so lucky. I think Canada only has like 2 bins locations, none in Western Canada where I live. So jealous. Travel. You're just gonna have to come to Ohio. Maybe we'll run into you. That would be great. I love seeing YouTubers in person, although it does really freak me out when people are like, hey Nikki, and I'm like, you're a stranger, I don't know who you are. So be like, oh, I watched your YouTube, because it throws me off otherwise, and I think I have like some random person. But yeah, there's a couple in Ohio. I've heard some not so great things about the Dayton one right now. And I I mean, I think Columbus people still say that it's pretty crazy, but as far as like bins locations, I think they're all generally about the same as far as like the level of chaos that ensues with them.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to maybe go to some other states. I've heard some about like Colorado bins. I might go to Colorado at some point and try to bin source there. But then we got to fly it all back. Like it's a whole thing. But I would like to experiment sometime with another state's bins just to see how it is. So
yeah.
they have been friends for years before Cayley started her store. Yeah, we've known each other I think since we were probably what, like 13 ish? 7th grade? Yeah.
Yeah.
Think way
7th
back.
grade.
Yeah, 7th grade. So we were probably 13 maybe ish. Which I'm not gonna tell you how many years that's been, but it's been enough years. And we like, I don't know, we knew each other in middle school a little bit, got closer in high school, and then
we worked together.
Yep, we worked together at our previous employer. We like managed departments together and things like that, and just honestly our paths kept crossing even when Cayley would move, or I would leave something or she would leave something. Somehow we always ended up crossing paths again, and we realized that we really liked working with each other. So when she called me, I couldn't say no. Definitely don't want to put store in vacation mode and launch drafts or end/relist. They won't be included in the vacation once it starts. Ask me how I know. I never thought of that. That's a good point. Because I think it does only apply to active listings. So if you have something that you scheduled and it goes active after, it wouldn't participate. Gotcha. I never thought about that. But clearly, when you say ask me how I know, you clearly absolutely know. So.
Like I said, we haven't used it in a while because we always make sure that somebody's here to ship. But I don't know. Just to me, like, peace of mind, I would personally just, even with not being able to list, I would just maybe heavily list the day before, put it on vacation mode, and then like take a couple days off and just let stuff sell and get back to it.
Femfix says I sit in the McDonald's parking lot and do listings there a few times a week. Yeah, sometimes like the best motivation is just getting out of your house. Like I have to be in a physical like workspace to feel like I can function. Otherwise I keep getting sidetracked and distracted.
I love hearing stories also. Like, I don't know if you're just doing it because you just want to get out of your house or whatever, but I love the stories where people don't have internet at their house. Like, some people don't even have a computer. They go to the library and they just persevere through everything to like get their listings done until it starts rolling. And I think that's really cool. There's a lot of like free options to list and to have Wi-Fi, so that's great.
Amanda wants to know, how do you handle bad sales days / bad mental space caused by bad sales days? Girl, this is like a whole YouTube in itself. Like a whole channel, not even just a video.
Well, first of all, when we have bad sales days, we do nothing different. We just stay the course. We keep working. We understand that like reselling's a roller coaster, so we know that even though we might have a really bad sales day, we know that probably the next couple days are going to, or maybe even the next week, that it's all going to come back around and be okay. And you just kind of learn that over years of reselling. I will say when we do have slower sales days, we do start to look into things, I guess. I don't like spend a whole lot of time on it, but I do think about why it might be happening. And then if we figure it out, we put it on the calendar. But like, usually, like we said last time, there's usually a direct correlation as to why sales are slow. Maybe there's a holiday coming up. Maybe, people aren't online because they're at the Super Bowl, or, maybe it's
Christmas
you haven't been listing consistently. Like we talked about our slow sales on Poshmark for the past couple of weeks. Well, we realized that we hadn't been cross-posting there as often as we used to. So like, I don't know. It's good to look into it and to see like what might be happening, but don't spend too much time on it. Like I would just move on and keep actively listing, and it'll all come back around.
Yeah. The biggest thing is like, don't let yourself get overly discouraged. Just be patient, be consistent, roll with it. I wish Etsy and eBay shipping works the same way as Poshmark. I seriously have been neglecting even posting because shipping is a headache and I hate paying out of pocket. It can be a pain in the butt. Like, I love Poshmark. You literally just grab a thing and put it in there and throw a label on it and you're done. I wish they were all that easy, but they are not.
It's worth it, though. If you can figure out the shipping portion, which we do have a couple of videos on, by the way, if you haven't watched them yet, they're very in-depth and helpful. But at least I think they're helpful. I've been told they've been helpful. I guess I shouldn't say that. I've been told they've been really helpful, but if you can get it figured out, even though it is a pain in the butt, eBay does have the most users. It's where the bulk of our sales come from, and if you consistently list on there, you're going to see really good results. So
I noticed while editing some eBay postings, it wouldn't let me do certain things because eBay detected that the listing was cross-posted and wasn't originally or organically and originally posted on eBay. Has this happened to anyone? I agree with Tommy in Seattle. It probably was because there was some form of offer on it. Sometimes if you log in, it won't let you edit, or if you go to edit, it won't let you edit certain things because there is like an open offer on them. I've never seen one for cross posting because for literally months we were cross posting them from List Perfectly to eBay. I've never seen a flag like that, but it doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Did it give you an error code and like specifically tell you that, or was it just not letting you edit some of the fields?
If it's just not editing fields, I would agree that there was probably a listing on it, like an offer on it, like Tommy in Seattle. If it's something that's like make or break it, and you have to change it because you're worried you're going to sell something, and it's like, I don't know, there's a flaw that you didn't have, whatever, and you want to make sure it's there. I always just end the listing and then immediately relist that item and with the changes on it, just because I wouldn't want to sell that item and then them come back and say that there was a flaw or whatever on it. But obviously, if it's something that's pretty clear, you might let the offer stand. We had one this week that I put like as a 2XL, not just as a 2X. And we thought that needed to be changed in the listing, but ultimately the customer knew it had the tag. It was still listed as a 2X. We thought it would be okay. We waited until that offer came off before we made those changes. So you kind of have to decide what's best for you. But
someone said Denver Benz, rent a van. We would like to check it out. I've heard there's multiple locations in Denver, but whichever one like is the good one is the one we want to try to go to and see. But yeah, we probably, no matter what, would have to rent a van. We would just have to get something bigger.
He said maybe it's the cross listing app that I use, but there was literally a pop-up on eBay that something like this listing wasn't originally created on eBay. I'm trying to remember what I was doing when the pop-up happened. It may have been bulk offers or bulk editing or something in bulk. I don't remember.
That's
100% sure it was a pop-up.
We've never had that happen. That's kind of concerning if that's true. So we'll keep an eye out for that and keep our ears open to see if anybody else does something. But we haven't personally done that, and we do use a cross-posting tool. So we'll let you know if that comes up.
Those are the same things. Hold on a second. I've never heard or seen it from the community. It might be a pop-up from your cross list app. Yeah, I'm curious to see what cross listing app you use. We use List Perfectly. We haven't run into it yet, but if potentially maybe your cross listing app is having some issues, like as a company with eBay, maybe there's something going on between the two of them that we're unaware of, but we have not with List Perfectly. I would definitely be down to fly to Denver and then rent a van on the way back to bring everything back. Because I feel like that would be the most cost effective rather than like shipping it back or like trying to take extra suitcases. But if we got a checked bag, we could probably each get a free checked bag. We could bring it back on the airplane. But we could also rent a van and source the entire way back too. So
there it is.
There we go. Thank you for the insight. I'm a newer seller and definitely have some down days due to slow sales. Just trying to stay consistent and wait for the results. Super appreciative you ladies are doing lives. We are always here if you have questions. Even if we're not on live, you can always send questions, concerns, complaints, outrages to the well-traveled email. We will do our best to help you work through those. I just shrinked the thing down.
It's you can also send me a message on Instagram. I'm not gonna lie though, both the emails and Instagram, like we get, especially the email, like we get a lot of inquiries about like sponsoring the YouTube video and different stuff like that. So if we don't get back to you, it's probably lost somewhere, and we do try to get through them, but we do have a lot of inquiries coming in, and that's why we're doing these lives too, is to try and help and kind of offset some of those questions.
Definitely stay consistent though. Like you're not going to see results overnight. We definitely didn't. I think we went probably 3 months of listing 20 items a day before we started seeing really sales like increase. So it may take you 2-3 months to even see like a slight improvement, but it's kind of like losing weight. Once you do, like once you start seeing it come off, it's easier to stay motivated. Once you start seeing those sales, it's easier to stay motivated. And definitely stick with it. I currently have 5 items listed on eBay and 150 on Poshmark. At what point did you start using the app to cross post? I would definitely say cross post. But I will also tell you, if you have 150 on Poshmark and you're cross posting to eBay, it's going to be a pain. Only because eBay has so many more drop downs than what Poshmark does.
Yeah, I still think it's worth it, but if you're like, I would say if you're like all in, you definitely want to be a multi-platform seller. It is 100% worth it to start using a cross listing tool like List Perfectly, because it just makes things so much easier. And in my opinion, you want to look at the features for each subscription, because if you're going from Poshmark to eBay, you might not need all of the features because there's less to move over. But you know, Poshmark just has your description, your photos, the category size and everything. When that information gets moved to eBay, you're still going to have to fill out some more of the information, your shipping information, the weight. But it is worth it. I would say if you're like all in, you definitely want to do it. I would just start doing it and buckle down and make it a habit every day to cross post stuff, because you'll start seeing sales over time.
Amanda says she likes both of our shirts. I love leopard. You. I just love anything like leopard and cheetah and animal print in general. And road trip sourcing videos, road trip vlogs. We could have an entire playlist of road trip vlogs. We've actually I'm not even gonna lie. We've taken some trips together. We've always committed that we were gonna go sourcing while we were there, but we didn't. And maybe this summer we'll take like a quick weekend trip or something together and go sourcing and video the entire thing and like maybe a multi-part YouTube video. I think I can arrange my husband to keep my children for the weekend. But it would be fun just to like maybe pick a different state, like a bordering state, and say like, I don't know, we're going to Kentucky and we'll see what we come up with, or we're going to West Virginia and we'll see what we come up with. Maybe we do that.
Yeah.
We're committing to it.
We've definitely been wanting to do that. We just wanted to get things set up here first to run smoothly before we did that. But
yeah, I like it.
All right, guys. Well, we are coming to a head here.
Have a safe and dry weekend. Have a great time. Time to find some treasures. Good luck. Also, Posh pictures get drastically reduced in quality. They will look like doo-doo on eBay unless something has changed in the last year. I always go from eBay to Posh, not vice versa. It is easier to go from eBay to Posh just because cross-posting from eBay to Posh, you literally just select the category and what it is and then like the name, color, price, and you're done. But I don't know about pictures. Do you know?
I have heard that, but because we don't frequently cross post from Poshmark over, we were starting everything on List Perfectly or eBay and then moving to Poshmark. I don't know, I can't say, but I have heard that is true. But I would say, like, if you're familiar with Poshmark, just start cross-posting on eBay, get a feel for it, and then maybe after some time, you'll want to start listing on eBay first or on List Perfectly first and figure it out from there. But it's definitely worth it regardless if you do want to be a multi-platform seller, because it just saves you so much time.
That's all the questions that we have for today. So we are going to cut ourselves off today.
This is the longest live we've ever done.
10:22. She will actually click the done button today so that this doesn't get deleted like the last one. If you want, give us a last minute thumbs up before we turn the video off. We will plan on seeing you guys on Monday. Feel free to leave in the comments after the video is over what you'd like us to talk about on Monday. We will take suggestions.
Yeah. It was good to see you guys.
See ya. See you Monday. Have a good weekend.
An hour and a half.